tale as old as time. I'm going to steal from Jim Jordan for a minute because something just occurred. Something that the mainstream media is not covering correctly. I know that's a big shock, and Trump just did it. What does he know that we don't? What does it have to do with the Steele dossier? Not what you're being told. I could almost assure you of that. When are you ever told all the information? The mainstream media wants you to believe it's all about Christopher Steele, but no, it's something far different than that. Because as Donald J. Trump warned, fake news, a total political witch hunt, and that hasn't stopped through today. But now Trump's revenge is something entirely different than what it appears. What did he just do? And what does he know that we don't? That's going to be the story we're going to cover for you here today. Before we do, if you haven't subscribed to Lisa's channel yet, please just take a few seconds to do that. Can't tell you how important it is. Make sure your bell is checked to all, or else you're alerted to no broadcast. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, Lisa will throw a link above. Can't tell you how much that means to us. It's a great backup. You never know when things will happen. Or if you want to support both of us and get all these videos, no commercials, no interruptions, plus all the original content, go to restrictedrepublic.com. This platform's growing daily. Your eyes will be opened to what news was meant to sound like. All reference, so go ahead and dig in yourself. No commercials, no interruptions, no sponsors, beholden to no one but ourselves and our audience. To take advantage of that, right now I'm going to give you 14 days for free simply for subscribing. On top of that, go into monthly checkout, put in discount code INDEPENDENCE, $4 a month for 2 years plus 14 days for free. Once you're there, you'll go nowhere else because we focus on the things that matter. RestrictedRepublic.com. But now let's get on with the story. As you remember, all the stories swirling around the Steele dossier. I don't want to bore you, so we're going to get through just the lowlights of it. Opposition research firm hired by Hillary Clinton's campaign must turn over emails to Special Counsel Durham. Well, every consul has been involved in this storyline time and time again. But now Trump is heading to the UK to sue ex-British spy Christopher Steele over infamous Steele dossier. Now think about that for a moment. What could Trump hope to gain? When I go through the details of the case, not what you think, not what the mainstream media is reporting. It is only a 2-day hearing for data protection claims set to take place next month in London's High Court. This just coming out. Donald Trump is suing an ex-British spy over the Steele dossier, which made a string of explosive claims about the former president and his alleged, now disproven, links to Russia. Mr. Trump has brought a data protection claim against Christopher Steele and his company, Orbis Business Intelligence, in the UK's High Court. Records now show. The mainstream media would prefer to stop there. They don't want to get through all the details, the nitty-gritty of this case. Remembering Hillary Clinton already settled, the Democrats settled for the Steele dossier electoral case for $113,000 in 2016, Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, and the Democratic National Committee have agreed to pay $113,000 to settle a federal election commission investigation into whether they violated campaign finance law by misreporting spending on research that eventually became the infamous and since proven false Steele dossier. I hope everyone knows that by now. I know you guys do. By intentionally obstructing their payments through Perkins Coie and failing to publicly disclose the true purpose of those payments, opposition research, the campaign and DNC were able to avoid publicly reporting on their statutorily required FEC forms the fact that they were paying Fusion GPS to perform opposition research on Trump with the intent of influencing the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. Coming into a new presidential election. Trump suddenly going on the offensive, more than likely for very good reason. And it's not to get some monetary sum from Orbis, I assure you of that. The Steele dossier, we won't go through it all, caused a great deal of ridicule to Donald Trump throughout his entire presidency. It stood in the way of a lot of progress he could have made because he had to stay in continual defensive posture. Opposition research put out that stood in the way of as much progress as Trump could have made that literally dropped just before he took office. Just sewing this together for you. Oh, everybody. CNN intel chiefs presented Trump with claims of Russian efforts to compromise him, according to so much of this research. This was actually out a year before it was ever released. This on Mother Jones. A veteran spy has given the FBI information alleging a Russian operation to cultivate Donald Trump. When was that published? In 2016. But again, this didn't drop. Think about the date now. A year prior. This was published in October 31st, 2016. Over a year before the election in 2017. Where are we at right now? Nearly October 2023. A little bit over a year before next year's election. I don't believe in coincidence. And here we go on BuzzFeed News. Spring forward a year, a little bit over a year later, January 10th, 2017. These reports allege Trump has deep ties to Russia. Wow. Right as he was walking into office. It's amazing, isn't it? All coincidental timing? Of course not. And Donald Trump knows that. The New York Times. How did so much in the media get the Steele dossier so wrong? Because it's what they wanted to read. It's what they wanted it to say. It's what they hoped it would say. They knew a lot of it was unverified and false. They continued to report on it. Confirmation bias or something larger? You all know the answer to that by now. Even way back when, January 10th, 2017, even Michael Cohen denies claims in salacious circulated report. Boy, that changed quickly. Mr. Steele, who used to work on MI6's Russia desk, was hired to put together a dossier by Washington, D.C.-based research firm Fusion GPS. Opposition research that derailed, in some ways, a presidency because it did not allow Donald Trump to get everything done he wanted to get done because he was mired in continual controversy. What an amazing maneuver to assure that someone who you did not want his rules and regulations ever coming through, you found something to throw right in front of him on the railroad track. Do you think maybe Donald Trump believes that's going to happen again? Because why would he suddenly, after all these years, fly out to the UK to litigate Christopher Steele? What does he know that we don't? Perkins Coie, a law firm for Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee, later acknowledged its role in funding. According to a court order published in London on Thursday, a 2-day hearing in Mr. Trump's legal action is set to start on October 16th. Mr. Steele, who used to work undercover in Moscow, alleged in the dossier that Mr. Trump had been compromised by the Russian security service, although he misspelled just about everything, really confirmed nothing, and the FBI, well, they were engaged in the entire thing by simply ignoring that it was never a credited dossier. It also made claims of compromised material involving Mr. Trump and prostitutes at a Russian hotel. Boy, that was all disproven too, wasn't it? Everything fell apart. We can go through all the things that came out of the Horowitz report, but basically what we learned is that everything was a bunch of nothing. All we learned is that the FBI and their primary sources were never vetted out. They simply pushed through the dossier to derail a presidency. Nothing different in the bipartisan Senate report, nothing different in the multiple reports, only that the FBI had faults in the investigation. Again. But it served its purpose, didn't it? It served its purpose. It stopped forward progress. It planted seeds of doubt. It didn't allow him to get through his presidency and transcend to even higher levels of greatness and political achievement. And now we're coming up on another election. The Mueller report found that although there was no collusion with Russia. End of story. Don't need to read anything else. Christopher Steele still out there on the scene. Still claiming that Trump is a potential threat. Still claiming that what he stated in this dossier was true. So what would happen if they did it again? What would happen if they launched it again? They're still vehemently defending the dossier, still saying everything may be provable. He also said the dossier was right about 3 of its largest claims. Russia spy agencies interfered in 2016 U.S. presidential election. Nothing to do with Donald Trump. Vladimir Putin approved the operation. Nothing to do with Donald Trump. Their goal was to help Mr. Trump's candidacy and hurt that of Mrs. Clinton. Nothing directly to do with Donald Trump. What are you claiming? People that have been caught red-handed. This dossier has already been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be false, are still defending it. So what lengths would they go to recreate the same event again, with everyone now seeing that Biden has no way in heck he can legitimately win this next election? Even when you read the comments, you see a very confused populace. I'm slightly confused. If the central allegations are wrong in the Steele dossier, then what of Donald Trump's protected data has been misused in making them? So what does Donald Trump know firsthand that we don't? Why is he protecting against something that happened a long time ago to clear his name? This won't clear his name. Not in the States, it won't. It is a minuscule case in the UK that the mainstream media will throw in the garbage and make sure it is never spoken about. So it must be something larger. And Trump must know, because he's seen it time and time again, especially now that the odds are so staunchly in his favor to win this next election beyond any shadow of a doubt. Is he simply protecting against what happened once to assure it doesn't happen again, and trying to put down the characters involved in what was a fraudulent dossier? I believe there's a lot more of this to come as he begins to insulate and protect before he becomes what everyone believes is the next president of the United States of America. Don't underestimate or discredit these small maneuvers that are dismissed by the mainstream media, but actually paint a critical picture. I love you all. Can't wait to see your comments on this. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.